Welcome back to Fire Force Anime Review, episode number 34. This is reviewing the 38th episode of the anime. Yes, 38, which is called The Ashen Reaper. And I'm also reviewing the two most recent chapters of the manga, 244 and 245, just cuz. Yeah, it's been like a couple weeks since I last did a review. Yes, I mean, the last time was like November 21st. Yeah, that was feeling like a while ago. Let's see. How long was November 21st? Let's see. That was... Wow, it's been like the last one. Yep. Now, this episode... Now, I had to basically do a little bit of research. Because I initially thought that last week's episode was the continuing Whole Soul Temple arc. Nope. Yes. And this is a animation I did a little research on. Okay. So, apparently the Whole Soul Temple arc actually wrapped up with the last episode. Yes, and apparently chapter 130 was the last chapter of that arc, not 130, not 132. No. Turns out that 131 actually is the current arc that this anime is working on, the Hajime Industries arc. And those 14 chapters, nope, it's actually 17 chapters. Yeah, in case you're curious though, why to make that goof? Because I didn't update the thing in a while. That's mainly the reason for it. I initially thought the chapters 151 was just standalone stories. It's called the Iris arc, which is the next arc comes out this one. Now, this episode adapts the rest of chapter 132 and pretty much goes the entirety of chapters 133 and 135, thus making this arc leaving about 12 chapters left to be adapted. Interesting. But like I'm a line, apparently they wrap up this arc by episode 41. I will discuss that when I get to it. This episode, starts off like right where the chapter starts off. Basically, you have Vulcan trying out a new device, which there's actually a little bit of stuff. Now, the beginning stuff, they add a little bit to the beginning, but mostly like right after that, they pretty much keep mostly everything the same, with some minor changes here and there, which is good. Now, the character Lisa, Vulcan's, I would say possibly his girlfriend per se. I mean, it's possible. It's basically kind of absurd. Anybody can tell that Vulcan's got a thing for Lisa. And in the chapter, the manga, that this first part of the episode is from, she's not there. Nope, her appearance in this episode is complete anime original. She was mentioned in the chapter, so I mean she was kind of there, but she didn't make a physical appearance in the chapter itself. So just hands on the device, test it out. Then we see, of course, Shira and Arthur arguing. Yep, they're arguing over nothing. Oh, the hero, they fight, and it's very cartoonish because in the manga it's just like really quick. Here they film like a cartoonish style, basically beat him up with the whole smoke thing. I thought was kind of hilarious. The fact they and of course having Vulcan simply break it up. And then like right after that, Licht just happens to come right behind him. Like, oh hi Shira, can you get right? It's like, okay, fine. Okay, so they got up the entirety of the 8th company, which yes is this particular portion of the chapter this episode is from the manga, though they did make some slight alterations. For one thing, it looked like this was a different part of the actual firehouse. In the anime, I think that they actually updated the art, the way the visuals looked in here, to make it a little more professional. So it look like it's something like boat. The way it looked in the manga, the way it looked like they were doing this, they had this meeting in the boiler room. In the anime, it's in Captain Obi's office. Okay, that's interesting. Of course, Victor's here because oh yeah, he goes, oh yeah, I'm a Hajime spy, spent a spy on you, keep an eye on Shira. Obi's like, we already knew that. And he's like, why are you telling us now? Because Hajime Industries requests Shira's presence at one of the facilities. Shira, of course, volunteers, but Obi's like, don't go, okay, you're not going alone, so they all kind of volunteer to go. Simple as that. Now, a lot of the stuff that the characters say in this episode is pretty much there for the manga, so there's really much change there. And then we cut to the facility itself, where we see the first appearance of the character Katsuru, who does appear later on in the series. Though he does, I should point out though, he has a belt buckle and a tie pin with a skull symbol on it. Now, When I saw this, like, oh, cool, a Soul Eater reference, because the writer of the series also did Soul Eater as well. Go figure. Heck, I even like the fact they show this like illusion of him being the Grim Reaper, and they have like the skull from the Grim Reaper from Soul Eater make an appearance. I thought it was so cool the fact they did that. Though they did change exactly what they referred him as. In the manga, the translation I got, I read on here, he's referred to as a Shinigami. In the anime, he's referred to as a Reaper. I'm not going to complain about it. Nope, not going to complain about it. There's also mentionings about the Evangelist. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's going on next week. That's going to be quite interesting. So, they have him basically fight one of the kids that Lieutenant Rucka converted way back in the Verse Company 1 arc. Yeah, that was back in Season 1. That was the third arc of the anime. So, it took them almost 30 episodes for this kid to finally return. And what does he do? Well, he basically shoots out of his arm, looks like 3 flame blades. And of course, Kasuma just basically wipes the floor with him. And apparently he gets off on it. Also, his arm is pretty much charred, so he has to wear bandages like he's a freaking mummy. The scientist basically says something he doesn't like, so he tries to nearly strangle the guy. Though the other guy basically tells him to knock it off, that he does. And then Sheriff pops up. Now, there's a slight change here from the manga. And I do mean a slight change. Now, they do show up basically them having shown the kids with playing with a doll with one of the scientists, female scientists playing with a doll with the kids. Yeah, that's from the actual manga. No change there. They do make a slight change about the dueling scene. Because here it's showing a lot, let's just say a lot more here in the anime. Is the manga. The manga it's like very brief, it's like one panel. Here it takes almost 30 seconds of screen time. Where it just, we actually kill a little bit more here than it is in the manga. It's like very vague in the manga. Here in the anime, it's like, oh, fully there. Yep. Then they basically go to the room and he, of course, takes on the guy. And, of course, they thank him for volunteering. And, of course, they battle him. Now, this whole battle, from what I can tell, there's not really much change here. And, yeah. They fight back and forth. It's a pretty good battle, I gotta say. And the guy basically keeps going weak. And the fact he's up with the black smoke. And I'm sure even the scientists probably point out, though, that Shira probably puts up a much better fight than the kids do. Probably because he's been trained with the Fire Force Academy. And they, of course, keep mentioning about the captain of Company 7. Which, of course, they've heard of as the mightiest. This guy, the maddest. Of course, they mentioned of course, Shira was mentioning to Licht about this guy on the way to the facility. Now, I should point out before I continue, before I talk about the ending, when they go to the actual, when he meets the security guard, they actually change his shirt. Yes, they actually change his shirt, because in the manga, it looks like he's wearing a black policeman's shirt. In the anime, he looks like a traditional security guard. Not really much to complain here, just change the color of the guy's shirt. Whatever. The scene itself pretty much plays out exactly how it does in the manga, but I had to bring it up. Otherwise, though, aside from these 2 minor changes, the episode is actually pretty good. In a nutshell, and next week, the Evangelist Soldiers show up next week, which I'm looking forward to next episode. Hopefully release next week's episodes. Hopefully release episode 15 soon. And also, this episode had a brand new opening theme song. I was like, wow, this is something. It's a pretty good song. I don't remember the name of the song, but it's a pretty good song. It replaced the previous song, which nothing really wrong with it. I know that Amanda Lee herself, she did a English cover for the song, which was really good, by the way. I highly recommend checking it out on a YouTube channel. And I wouldn't be surprised, though, if she did an English cover for this one, too, because it's a pretty good song. Okay? Now, moving on to the actual new chapters of manga. First up is Ties That Bind. First up, Ties That Bind. You have a flashback of basically Shira and Arthur with Ogi. They're arguing back and forth. Basically, it's a flashback where you have those 2 fight. And it's like, oh, you never hear, never a devil. Basically about playing basketball. And we cut to present day where Oga is basically just fighting the subordinate of the second pillar. And it looks like he nearly kills the guy. And then he basically summons out his other form. And continues fighting him. Of course, he continues to beat the crap out of him. And it looks like, though, he gets shot in the way. Ogun gets shot by the lieutenant from Company 8. And then Dragon shows up. Yep. Now, the rematch. Yep. Basically, Arthur and Dragon have a rematch in Chapter 245. It's called Dragon vs. Knight, the rematch. Yep. So, they have fight. It's like, so you come, Dragon. You ain't learned your lesson, huh? So he takes out his sword, and they fight, slice and dice, final cut. Yep. Now burn, finally flash, bam, bam. Really quick, and that's where the thing ends. It's just a big fight scene. Yep. And it says next week, intro color page for the climax of the anime's second season. The next chapter is going to be called 200 Years of Obsession. I gotta say, 2 really good chapters. Mostly put just basically 2 major fights. It continues, like, one fight looks like it's nearly done. And I appreciate the fact we're only able to have a rematch from the Obi Rescue arc. Now, I had to do a little research about the next few arcs, like Obi Rescue, because I didn't know what the name of the arcs were. I look them online, like, oh, these are the names of the arcs. Okay, for chapters 198 to 201, now, 175 to 197, that's Obi's Rescue, that I knew was correct. Now, there was actually 6 arcs since Obi Rescue. 6. First one is basically Return to Say Raffles, which was 198 201, which also started the 201, also the Arthur's Adventure arc from 201 to 205. Stone Pillars was 206 219. Asakusa's Showdown 220 229, which makes it, from what I can tell, look like it's a bit shorter than the actual original Asakusa arc. Then you have Katsuba Street, which take chapters 230 238. And then Kark arc is the Asmasu arc. Yeah, but these are interconnected arcs that's been going on since Obi's Rescue. Yep. And I get both chapters pretty much a 9 out of 10. Damn good chapters. Nothing really wrong with them. Just really good chapters. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. I was planning on doing the next one, which is going to be, is it wrong to be girls in a dungeon? But it's getting kind of late, and I gotta go work tomorrow. So I'll review that tomorrow. Along with news episode, case closed. Yes, there is new episode, case closed tomorrow. So definitely expect to see review that tomorrow. And also, I decided to do this because the last several days I've been trying to finish up Doctor Who, finish up series 11, but I figured, I'm getting tired of basically doing this, like putting this off. So tomorrow I'm gonna start my reviews for Trinity 7. It's going to be the first review that tomorrow in the afternoon per se. Okay. See you next video. Bye.